The Harvest of Raven Creek. It was October 15, 1989, when Garrett Thomas first stepped into Raven Creek. He had been chasing stories of ghost towns across Appalachia, hoping to write a book. But something about Raven Creek, some whisper in the air, called to him. Maybe it was the way locals in nearby towns refused to speak of it, or the eerie hand-painted sign at the turnoff. Caution, harvest in progress. The road was barely a path, swallowed by weeds and wet leaves, and he had to leave his car behind and walk the rest. Trees leaned in too close, the wind whistled like someone breathing, and the light dimmed unnaturally the closer he got. Raven Creek appeared suddenly, a cluster of sagging wooden homes, a church with boarded windows, and a leaning barn with its roof half collapsed. No people. No cars. No birdsong. Just silence, and the faint smell of corn. He set up in the old parsonage next to the church. It was cleaner than expected, as though someone had recently swept the floors and laid out fresh linens. A Bible rested on the nightstand. Not unusual, until he opened it and found a photograph inside, a group of people standing in a cornfield, all with their eyes scratched out. On the back, written in ink, "We offered them willingly. Why won't they leave?" That night, he dreamed of corn stalks growing through the floor, wrapping around his legs, dragging him down. When he awoke, his feet were dirty, as if he'd walked barefoot through a field. The next morning, he explored. The houses were full of clues, coats still on hooks, meals left half-eaten, radios unplugged but warm to the touch. It was like the residents had stepped out for a moment, but never returned. In one house, he found a child's drawing taped to a wall. Stick figures standing in a row. Tall figures with empty ovals for faces behind them. Above, written in red crayon, "The Harvest Men." At the center of the town stood the old church. Its steeple cast a long shadow even though the sun was low and weak. Inside, the air was thick and damp. The altar was covered with dried corn husks, and behind it stood a tall wooden effigy, humanoid, but wrong. Its limbs were too long, and its face was a stretched burlap sack. Garrett felt watched. In the basement, he found the journals of Pastor Eldridge, who had led the church until 1956. The entries started normal: sermons, weddings, funerals. But then, they asked for more. Not prayer. Not piety. They wanted blood. The crops failed, and we were desperate. We gave them the vagrant. Then the old woman with no family. The corn came back. Greener than ever. Bigger. We thought it was a miracle. It wasn't. It's in the soil now. In the stalks. It hears us when we pray. And it hates silence. Garrett flipped pages frantically. The final entry was dated October 21, 1956. They chose me next. I told them the sermon would continue forever. I hear the song now. The song of the harvest. The hymn of the hollow men. The next few days blurred. Time was slippery. He would wake with scratches on his arms he didn't remember getting. He stopped sleeping in the bedroom, too afraid of the dreams. The effigy in the church moved slightly each time he looked at it. At first, he thought it was his imagination. Until one night, it wasn't there at all, and muddy footprints led out of the building. On October 18th, he found the field. It was vast and wrong. While the other farms had long since withered, this one was pristine, rows of tall, golden corn swaying gently though there was no wind. He stepped inside. The world became quiet. No rustle. No bird calls. just his own breath and the soft thud of his boots on soil. As he walked deeper, he saw them. Scarecrows. But not made of straw, at least not entirely. One wore a faded sheriff's uniform. Another had dentures jammed into a sewn mouth. A third wore the same necklace he'd seen in a photo back at the church. A family photo. A missing mother. Each one had a burlap face, and each face had a mouth stitched shut. The stitching was red. When he turned around to run, he couldn't find the way out. That night, he wrote in his notebook, "The harvest men come at night. They walk between the stalks. They choose. I wasn't supposed to see them. Now they know me. There is a debt in this town, paid in flesh, every 33 years. 1923, 1956, 1989. I did the math too late. I hear the hymn now. It's beautiful. Terrible. A lullaby in reverse. A funeral march sung by children with sewn mouths. They want me to sing too." Garrett tried to burn the field. He doused the edges in gasoline and lit a match. The flames caught, then stopped. Mid-air. Like something swallowed them. He screamed. A low voice echoed from within the corn. "Blood waters the seed, not fire." The scarecrows turned their heads. He ran. Ran past the church, past the homes, to the road. But the road looped. Always back to town. Raven Creek wouldn't let him go. The harvest wouldn't let him leave. On October 21st, his final note read, "I've boarded every door, every window. I can hear them outside. They whisper in the stalks. They chant my name. I don't know how they know it, but they do. I haven't said it aloud since I got here. I saw my own face today, on a new scarecrow. It smiled. I hear the hymn clearly now. It says, 1 more for the field. 1 more for the song. Please don't come looking for me." And then, nothing. Garrett Thomas vanished. His car was found, empty, keys still in the ignition. His notebook was recovered by hikers in 2022, hidden beneath a pew in the old church. The field is still there. Still full. Still perfect. Locals say the harvest is always good in Raven Creek. They say the corn grows taller every 33 years. And someone, no one knows who, keeps repainting the sign at the crossroads. Caution, harvest in progress. Thank you for watching, but beware, some stories never truly end.